Well, we just finished up another month in Victoria real estate, and I bet you these numbers are going to be drastically different than what you're hearing on the news or in other markets in BC. Now, the spring market seems to be showing up. Prices are holding relatively stable. Inventory is up. Now, this isn't a panic market, but it's not a crazy seller's market either. Now, this market is rewarding pricing discipline, strategy, and an understanding of the micro markets across Greater Victoria. So welcome back to our channel. For those of you that don't know me, my name is Alex Hughes. I run the North Pacific Homes Group here in Victoria. I'm an Icon agent. And in today's video, we are doing the March monthly market update. So let's get into it. So in March, we had 576 properties sell. Now that's 24.5% higher than February. What's that showing us? Of course, seasonality of it, that the spring market is starting to show up. But we were 5.5% less than March of last year. And that matters because a lot of people still think it's either 2021 or that the market has completely stalled. And well, neither of those views are accurate. These numbers are showing us that since January, both inventory and activity have been steadily increasing and that it's following a fairly normal seasonal pattern. VREB has noted this themselves. And well, this is good because it's becoming a more predictable market. It's going to keep on increasing until May, June and start to slowly taper off as we head back into the winter months. Now, the bigger story, in my opinion, is inventory. At the end of March, we ended up with 3,300 active listings. That's up 12% from last month, and up 8% of March of last year. Now, when inventory increases with activity, it changes the tone of the market. Buyers have more to choose from, sellers have more competition, and it creates usually less emotionally driven, high pressure transactions. So this lines up with what our VREB chair said in our release. The market is bearing higher inventory, a good level of consumer demand, and it's offering a good market for both the buyers and the sellers. It's offering a little bit more opportunity for the buyers to do their own due diligence, and these homes aren't flying off the shelves like they were in a seller's market where buyers are being forced to waive their conditions. Single family activity dropped 2.5% year over year. Condos dropped 18.8%. But townhomes actually went up 11.4%. And what this is showing us is that there's still a relatively good demand for single family. Townhomes seem to be the winner for people that are looking to make an upgrade, and that middle ground between price and space. The condo segment has softened quite significantly. It's not necessarily meaning it's a dumpster fire, we'll call it, like Toronto or Vancouver, but it is one of the tougher markets to be in as of right now. Talking about pricing, which is where all of the headlines seem to overreact. In the core, the single family benchmark price was just over 1.3 million. That's down 1.1% of March. Looking at the condos, just over $530,000, which is actually only 0.8% less from last year. That being said, both single family and condo slightly upticked from February to March. So it's showing us that there is still activity, but we are still just slightly off from our year over year pricing. So the best way to describe it is balanced. Now, using our own framework known as the sales to active listing ratio, 17% and less puts downward pressure on pricing or a buyer's market. If you're 28% and higher, it's upward pressure on pricing, and that is a seller's market. And we are pretty much bang, smack dab in the middle. And what this is showing us is that with this steady pricing, we aren't seeing these major, massive pricing swings like other markets are. And this makes more sense when you zoom out and you look at a more macroeconomic backdrop. The Bank of Canada held its overnight policy rate to 2.25%, and we're not saying that the borrowing is cheap, but that payment stability is giving buyers more confidence. Now, on the inflation side of things, Stats Canada came out with the consumer price index rise of 1.8%, which was down from 2.3% the previous month. And again, this goes more to a more stable environment where we didn't have inflation and rate expectations acting a lot more aggressive or volatile. At the provincial level, BCREA's 2026 first quarter forecast update, and that took me about 8 takes to get, by the way, shows that BC is sitting at its highest inventory at nearly a decade at just over 40,000 homes. Now, what this shows us is that with the more inventory, that's going to keep prices tempered. So it's giving even more confidence that prices aren't going to be skyrocketing anytime soon. So what does this mean if you're buying in Victoria or Greater Victoria? Well, you've got more selection. You've got more time to get your due diligence done, get the inspection, to get the financing, review the strata documents. There's not that much pressure on you. With all of this being said though, we need to understand that the numbers I'm talking about are the Greater Victoria market as a whole. We've got 13 different municipalities here. We have so many different micro markets. Each municipality and micro market acts significantly different than the next. Oak Bay is acting different than Langford. North Saanich is acting different than Esquimalt. We need to understand what your property is, where it's at, what's the buyer pool, what's the building like. This is where local analysis matters most. Each micro market is gonna act differently. When we filmed this, a couple of days ago, we listed a property in Esquimalt. Was one of the most affordable homes in Esquimalt with a suite. Had it listed on that first day. We had about 8 showings through and it went into multiple offers. So if I had to sum up March 2026 in as little sentences as possible, it would be this. The Victoria market is active, more balanced than what we've seen in tighter years. It's being driven more by execution than emotion. Buyers have more room to think, sellers have opportunity. So if you want to know what these numbers mean to your specific property type, your neighborhood, your street, or if you're thinking about making a move to Victoria, definitely reach out to me. If you like this video, give us a like, it helps us out immensely. And if you haven't already, please subscribe to our channel. As always, my number will be down below. Never hesitate to reach out, and I hope to hear from you soon.